Hello, my name is Carl Wachner and I am the president of the LLPOA, which is the Lake Louisa Property Owners Association. We are a 100% volunteer-based organization dedicated to helping keep Lake Louisa's waters healthy for the following generations. The photo you are looking at shows the typical effects of a lake infected with Eurasian milfoil. Eurasian milfoil is an aquatic plant classified as an invasive species, and it is now flourishing in most of North America. We are lucky that to date our lake, our beautiful Lake Louisa, appears to be free of Eurasian milfoil. Many of our neighboring lakes, however, are not as fortunate. This LLPOA presentation will focus on the invasive species known as Eurasian milfoil and the threats which it poses to Lake Louisa. The LLPOA believes that the consequences of a Eurasian milfoil infestation will be devastating for Lake Louisa. Should Eurasian milfoil come to Lake Louisa, many things in our lives will certainly change. Swimming will change, boating will change, fish stocks will change, and property values will change. It is understood that the topic of invasive species should be of critical interest to all Lake Louisa residents, no matter in which municipality you live. As residents of the municipality of Wentworth or the municipality of Wentworth North, we all share the same lake, and we all need to protect the same lake together. The spread of Eurasian milfoil does not appear to be slowing down. It is advancing slowly, being transported from water body to water body. Every year more lakes and rivers report positive identifications of this invading plant. And as we shall see, there are many Laurentian lakes close to Lake Louisa which are dealing with Eurasian milfoil right now. But first, let's examine how big a problem Eurasian milfoil is on the North American continent. In this slide, American states and Canadian provinces having Eurasian milfoil problems are shown in green. You will see that Eurasian milfoil can flourish in areas as far north as Alaska and as far south as Florida. And as you can see, Eurasian milfoil is present in almost all American states. Within Canada, it is British Columbia, Ontario, Quebec, and New Brunswick which have recognized infestations of this plant. This is the big picture showing the spread of Eurasian milfoil in North America, but you are probably curious to know how close the nearest infestations of Eurasian milfoil are to Lake Louisa. The photo on the left shows that Eurasian milfoil grows densely in large areas. As we shall see, it can spread into all adjacent watery areas, having its preferred water growing depth. It is very common to have Eurasian milfoil infestations which cover multiple acres in surface area. The photo on the right shows one of the very direct effects of the presence of Eurasian milfoil, and that is water which has very little circulation. Because Eurasian milfoil grows in such a dense mat, the resulting mass of vegetation inhibits the normal circulation of water from wind, waves, and even current. This is why when you look at this photo, the water appears cloudy. This cloudiness is caused by the many suspended particles of organic matter caused by the decomposition of various plants and the resulting heightened presence of algae. Within an infestation of Eurasian milfoil, the once clear water often loses its clarity. The characteristics of Eurasian milfoil are easy to understand. Its adaptability allows it to grow well in many different climates and geographic locations, from Alaska to Florida. It is so vigorous that it will crowd out our beneficial native aquatic plants. Eurasian milfoil, in fact, starts growing in the early spring before our native Laurentian aquatic plants, thereby gaining a head start in the production of its foliage. Once a lake or river system gets Eurasian milfoil, there is no known man-made solution to get rid of it. Eurasian milfoil spreads by our human activity. We are the carriers of Eurasian milfoil as we go between lakes and rivers. Thankfully, to date, we at Lake Louisa are lucky not to have had any reported infestations of Eurasian milfoil. However, all residents of Lake Louisa should probably consider our good fortune to be simply an accident, as we have seen other lakes very near to us and sharing common Laurentian water chemistry and topographies have not been as lucky. And Lake Louisa is certainly the largest lake in our region, drawing many non-resident boaters and fishermen and fisherwomen to our clean water, our deep bays, our well-managed fish stocks, and the overall beauty which is Lake Louisa. Therefore, our risks of developing Eurasian milfoil infestations are perhaps greater than other neighboring lakes. It should be emphasized that Eurasian milfoil is a perennial plant. It will die each autumn and begin regrowing each spring. Once it is in a body of water, Eurasian milfoil is there to stay. Eurasian milfoil grows in astonishingly great abundance. It will normally take over the shallows in the area which surrounds the infestation. To develop an idea on the extent of the normal vigorous growth of Eurasian milfoil, consider this comparison. The growth of an infestation of Eurasian milfoil has been compared to looking at a completely submerged field of mature corn. Both corn and Eurasian milfoil reach the same growing heights when they mature. It should be noted that our Laurentian ecosystem does have native types of milfoil. Milfoil is a type or class of plant having many individual relatives, but it is Eurasian milfoil which is the one specific variety which is here in our environment as an invasive species. Our native milfoils have fewer leaves per segment, 10 or less, and does not grow in any significant abundance. Eurasian milfoil is therefore easy to identify. Milfoil will attain its full height and mass of vegetation in mid to late summer. During this time, Eurasian milfoil will develop the type of flowers which you see in this photo. It will grow to the point where these flowers will float lazily on the surface of the water. They will wrap around each other in circles and in knots, and appear to be one large mat of vegetation. You see here that Eurasian milfoil will grow in water depths between 0.5 meters to 3.5 meters. It is recognized, however, that its ideal growing depth is in the range of 1.5 meters. You have probably noticed that in all these photos already shown in this presentation, it is apparent that Eurasian milfoil has become the single and dominant aquatic plant in its area. No other native Laurentian water plants can compete with its growth in the long term. The first three facts on this slide deal with the future health of fish stocks in bodies of water which are infected with Eurasian milfoil. As you can see, it is very difficult for fish to live and reproduce in lake or river environments having large growths of Eurasian milfoil. You may be wondering what a future infestation of Eurasian milfoil could have on two of the simple cottage pleasures which we presently take for granted at Lake Louisa. Let's look at swimming and at boating. It must be said in plain terms, swimming in waters infected with Eurasian milfoil is dangerous. The possibility of getting caught up in the mass of vegetation is very real. Even strong swimmers can panic in such situations. It should also be noted that pets are especially vulnerable to getting caught up in Eurasian milfoil vegetation. Boating is difficult as propellers become wrapped up with Eurasian milfoil and paddles often meet resistance and gather strands of its vegetation. In areas of Eurasian milfoil, you normally cannot see the bottom of the lake or of the river. The water often becomes cloudy and unappealing. Unfortunately, the real problem of boating in areas having Eurasian milfoil is that you will make existing infestations worse and most likely even create new infestations. Another photo typical of the presence of Eurasian milfoil in a bay environment. Every fall, the large mass of Eurasian milfoil vegetation dies back to its root crown. Bacteria grow on this dead plant material and cause it to decompose, thereby releasing additional unwanted nutrients into the water. This process also reduces the amount of oxygen available for fish. It takes our human activity to transport Eurasian milfoil from lake to lake and from river system to river system. This photo of a boat trailer with strands of Eurasian milfoil underlines how easy it is to transport. You may wonder how Eurasian milfoil was originally introduced into North American lakes and waterways in the first place. There are two likely causes. Apart from the speculation that Eurasian milfoil originally came in with the flushing of ballast water of large ocean-going transport ships, there is one other even more probable reason. The feathery and delicate appearance of this plant is favored as an attractive plant for freshwater aquaria, or fish tanks. Fragments or whole plants probably found their way into local lakes and streams when the aquarium owners dumped them into storm drains, sewer systems, or into lakes or rivers when cleaning or disposing of the contents of their aquarium. It is clear that Eurasian milfoil is here because of us, and when we are not careful, we transport it from infected bodies of water to, possibly, bodies of water which are clean. This is how Eurasian milfoil spreads. This photo shows Eurasian milfoil as it appears in late July and early August. Its blooms have reached the top surface of the water. While motorized boats and their trailers are the biggest threats of being potential carriers of Eurasian milfoil, it should be noted that all types of watercraft, motorized and non-motorized, have the potential to catch strands of Eurasian milfoil when they are transported away from an infected lake. Sailboats and even pedalos can easily transport Eurasian milfoil. All manners of boat trailers have many sharp and pointy objects which allow Eurasian milfoil to be caught and transported to another body of water. Remember that Eurasian milfoil infestations are most usually present and are usually worse in lake and river areas where boat trailers are normally put into the water to launch and collect their boats. All propellers, big and small, and even the propellers on small electric motors can easily wrap up and collect long strands of Eurasian milfoil. If not 100% properly cleaned and removed, these fragments of Eurasian milfoil can be transported to the next lake or river. It's been established that Eurasian milfoil can stay alive for over 5 to 7 days out of the water. As you know, wake-style boats have a unique internal water reservoir system which is designed to collect water in order to increase the weight of the boat, lower its center of gravity, and thus create higher waves. Apart from being propeller-driven, wake boats are extremely problematic for all lakes and rivers because of two reasons. Firstly, the large waves which wake boats can generate will cause extensive damage to the delicate, porous, and fragile shorelines of our Laurentian lakes. This, however, is a topic for another day. Secondly, concerning invasive species, wake boats can easily spread Eurasian milfoil due to the employment of their water collection systems, as shown in this photo. By filling and then flushing their reservoir ballast tanks, wake boat owners can unknowingly transport live fragments of Eurasian milfoil into new and different lakes and rivers. The watery environment of these reservoirs can keep leftover fragments of the plant alive for many days. No wakeboat owner can ever be sure that the ballast reservoir is completely clean of all plant debris when flushed before leaving a lake and going to another lake. As a result, some municipalities have banned the launching of wakeboats from their municipal wharves due to the environmental damage these boats can cause to lake shorelines. Additionally, the design and purpose of these boats also incorporate additional risks of spreading invasive species. Many fishing boats are equipped with internal reservoir compartments which allow bait and/or caught fish to be kept alive and contained while the fishermen are out on the water. In this manner, fishing boats can carry and transport live fragments of Eurasian milfoil in the water and residue found inside these live-hold fish compartments. Braided ropes on any watercraft or pulling device can gather strands of Eurasian milfoil. It only takes fragments of Eurasian milfoil to start a new growth in a new lake or river. Floatplanes can also transport invasive species. Floatplanes are often parked overnight on beaches and tied to wharves and can come into contact with areas of Eurasian milfoil if it is present in the water. Also, floatplanes have to taxi across areas of lakes and rivers and thus have similar chances of entering the same infestations of Eurasian milfoil as do motorized boats. It is recognized that the extreme wind pressures encountered during flight probably act as a cleaning process for any hanging on threads of plants on the exterior of the floats. But, just like wake boats and fishing boats, floatplanes also have internal compartments. These compartments are in the floats themselves, and if leaking, these floats will collect the water in which they are in contact. All floatplane pilots inspect and pump their floats on a regular basis, usually before the first takeoff of the day. Normally the water which is in a float is simply pumped out by hand into the water in which the floatplane is floating. And floatplanes are extremely mobile. They can visit many bodies of water during the course of the same day if the pilot decides to land. There is certainly a chance that some of these bodies of water could already be infected with Eurasian milfoil. When any motorized craft traverses an area infected with Eurasian milfoil, not only does it often get some of the strands wrapped up in the propeller, but it also slices through many Eurasian milfoil plants during its journey. Just one pass of any propeller-driven boat or ingestion-propelled personal watercraft such as a Sea-Doo has a devastating effect of cutting up live Eurasian milfoil plants and creating thousands and thousands of additional small fragments in its wake. Remember that it is these very small fragments of Eurasian milfoil, just freshly cut up by a propeller, which can then float away by either wind, wave action, or current to potentially replant and regrow yet new infestations in the same body of water. This is the primary mechanism which enables Eurasian milfoil to grow and spread so quickly within a lake or river system which has already been infected. If you still believe that, should Eurasian milfoil ever find its way into Lake Louisa, the presence and effects of Eurasian milfoil will become somebody else's problems and not your own problems, then this slide should change your mind. Please take a moment to look at the shoreline of this Laurentian lake and look for the tan-colored areas identified by the number 2. These tan-colored areas indicate the locations in this lake which are infected with Eurasian milfoil. You will notice that even the island in the middle of the lake is encircled with Eurasian milfoil. This study, performed in August 2004 on Lac Supérieur, which is near Mont-Tremblant, documents the spread and extent of Eurasian milfoil infestations as they creep along the shoreline in front of almost all cottages on this lake. As of 2004, almost all of Lac Supérieur was encircled with Eurasian milfoil. Eurasian milfoil thrives in water which is approximately 6 to 8 feet deep. It is safe to say that you, listening to this video presentation and being a cottage owner at Lake Louisa, probably have 6 to 8 feet of water depth off your shoreline in front of your cottage. We all share, therefore, the same risks of having an infestation of Eurasian milfoil occur right in front of our very own cottages. This appears to be a typical cottage bordering a lake having a heavy growth of Eurasian milfoil. We at the LLPOA found this photo to be most distressing as it substantially depicts what life could be like for many of us if Lake Louisa ever became infested with Eurasian milfoil. Notice the cloudy, murky water within the infestation. This is caused by the inhibited circulation of water resulting from the submerged mass of Eurasian milfoil vegetation. Imagine the experience of swimming in this water. Think about enjoying water sports or even the difficulty of traveling in your boats to and from your dock. Now briefly notice that this photo also depicts 3 additional man-made landscaping problems which have an absolute and negative effect on the long-term health of the lake on which it borders. Note the manicured lawn extending to the lake's edge. Perhaps it is fertilized and treated with herbicides. Note the man-made rock wall bordering the lake. This rock wall will act as a solar reflector, prematurely heating up the water in the shallows. And thirdly, note the complete removal of all trees and all shrubs inside the protected zone. This shoreline has been denuded of the overhanging and beneficial shade-creating tree canopy which is natural to most Laurentian shorelines. As you know, Wentworth has already enacted strong legislation to protect the shoreline in its natural state with a protected zone 10 to 15 meters deep. And we are happy to report that Wentworth North is now actively enforcing similar bylaws designed to guard the health of their portion of Lake Louisa. You may ask yourself, what can we do as lake residents to help prevent the introduction of Eurasian milfoil into Lake Louisa? The mandatory boat washing of all watercraft entering the waters of Lake Louisa is the starting point for all residents to consider. While this bylaw may cause minor inconvenience to some residents, the LLPOA hopes that the experience of registering and washing your own personal boats at the municipality will emphasize and underline how easy it is in fact to do. And especially with this boat washing process in mind, how necessary it is for you as a lake resident to insist that all your visiting off-lake guests and all prospective renters of your chalet register and wash their boats before gaining access to Lake Louisa. Remember, even seemingly innocent kayaks, canoes, pedalos, and boats drawn pull toys can harbor fragments of Eurasian milfoil. Please insist that all your guests and all prospective renters wash all their boats at the Wentworth washing station. Mandatory boat washing appears to be the best course of action which any municipality can require of its residents to help prevent the spread of invasive species. We do not have any other preventive measures which are as effective to the same degree. As stated, Eurasian milfoil is judged to be the biggest current threat facing Lake Louisa. But there are many other invasive species which have the potential to create havoc within our lake environment. There are other aquatic plants, some shoreline plants, and types of fish and insects which are currently infecting lakes and river systems and which have the potential of coming to Lake Louisa. The long list of potential and aggressive invasive species is real, and frankly, it is very discouraging. However, the point here is that it is the process of mandatory boat washing and the very careful control of all possible transported water in boats, trailers, recreational equipment, and planes, which is the one common denominator in helping to stop the spread of all invasive species. So how bad can Eurasian milfoil infestations become? And what matters of eradication have already been tried? Because this plant grows in such a dense mat and has such a mass of vegetation, many have attempted to remove Eurasian milfoil using barge-mounted mechanical harvesters, much like a large farm combine harvesting wheat in the prairies. Needless to say, this type of harvesting left in its wake a large concentration of Eurasian milfoil plant cuttings, and these cuttings surely floated away and started new infections elsewhere in the lake or river. Because the Eurasian milfoil plant is perennial, the plant always regrows. Such a harvester can gather several tons of Eurasian milfoil in a single day depending on the size of the infestation. Heavy equipment and dump trucks are needed to deal with the weight and sheer volume of the vegetation once collected. And the harvested Eurasian milfoil is normally brought to landfill sites since it rots with a distinct and unpleasant odor. In the past, concerned governments and lake associations have tried purchasing tens of thousands of small insects named aquatic weevils. These weevils were introduced in the hopes that they would eat Eurasian milfoil and control its growth. The idea is that these weevils would in fact become a biological control agent. Some Laurentian lakes near Mont Tremblant have tried this, but no direct successes have been reported, and their problems persist. The photo on the right shows how lake associations have paid divers with scuba gear to delicately try to remove the plant and its roots from the bottom of the lake or river. While very expensive, this technique has also not produced any positive results, as the plant is perennial and vigorous, and it manages to regrow. Scuba divers who have tried to pull out Eurasian milfoil by hand feel that overall this technique is futile and destined to fail, as they can see that as they work below the water, small fragments of the plant are always breaking away before they can be bagged. And in terms of quantity, they realize that even many scuba divers working together can hardly make a dent in a large infestation, which can certainly reach many acres. The photo on the left shows a recently developed technique to eradicate Eurasian milfoil. It involves the placing of weighted geotextile fabric or extending rolls of burlap over infected areas in the spring. The idea is to suffocate the growth of Eurasian milfoil by reducing available sunlight. Again, this is a very expensive technique to implement. Also, the Quebec Ministry of Environment has shown reluctance to issue permits for this technique because it is surmised that beneficial native plants would also be killed in the process. Near Mont Tremblant, the Lake Association of Lac Quebec is presently attempting to initiate this technique by raising money from its residents. They are attempting to raise $100,000. Once a lake association or a municipality recognizes an infestation of Eurasian milfoil has occurred in their territory, it is the accepted practice to provide information and warnings to all residents and stakeholders in the lake or river system. To date, there has not been one sign created by any lake association or any level of government which has been able to reduce or eliminate the problem of a Eurasian milfoil infestation once it has taken hold. The best a sign or water buoy can do is to tell the public about the problem and advertise boating restrictions in the infected areas. It is up to boaters to obey the warnings. Now on the bottom right you will notice a sign from Lac Mercier, previously identified as an infected lake in the Laurentians. Lac Mercier is a very busy lake with many wake boats, and it is governed by the Ville de Mont-Tremblant. Lac Mercier is 52 kilometers to the north of Lake Louisa. It also has a municipal beach. Please take a second to read the sign. The LLPOA hopes that a similar sign will never have to be posted at Lake Louisa. Well, there is some good news. As you may know, the municipality of Wentworth has recently enacted a new bylaw in April 2015 requiring the registration and mandatory boat washing of all boats using the Wentworth Municipal Wharf at Lake Louisa. A key element of this bylaw is the municipality's strict control of access to the gate at the wharf. The LLPOA congratulates Wentworth Council for having the courage to formulate and implement this new bylaw before any Eurasian milfoil has entered into Lake Louisa. So bravo to the Mayor and to the Council of Wentworth. The LLPOA also hopes that the Council of Wentworth North will soon enact a similar bylaw. As you know from the beginning of this presentation, Wentworth North already has 2 lakes where Eurasian milfoil has been confirmed, and they are only 11 kilometers distance away from Lake Louisa. So the time to act is now. Wentworth's new bylaw is by no means unique in our area. Here are some nearby Laurentian lakes and municipalities which have already enacted similar bylaws requiring mandatory boat washing and controlled access to municipal wharfs. In the case of the municipality of Ivry-sur-le-Lac, their bylaw for Lac Manitou is substantially more restrictive and costly to both residents and non-residents than that of Wentworth. As you know, approximately 85% of Lake Louisa is governed by the municipality of Wentworth, and approximately 15% of Lake Louisa is governed by Wentworth North. Thankfully, we have a strong bylaw put in place by Wentworth, so we can now say that 85% of Lake Louisa's residents directly benefit by having access to Wentworth's municipal washing station and its controlled municipal gate and wharf. But the 15% of Lake Louisa's residents living in Wentworth North do not receive similar benefits extending from their municipality. Currently, they do not even have a municipal wharf at the lake. And this is the problem. We as residents, along with our elected officials in both municipalities, have to look at Lake Louisa as a whole and make sure that 100% of the lake is secure with respect to preventing invasive species. The LLPOA urges the Mayor and Council of Wentworth North to consider redoubling its efforts to pass a strong bylaw which will help prevent more lakes on its territory from becoming infected with Eurasian milfoil. Specifically with Lake Louisa, the LLPOA urges the Mayor and Council of the Municipality of Wentworth North to accomplish 3 goals on behalf of its residents. Goal 1. Purchase or obtain rights to use land on Lake Louisa in your territory. Find a way to have a municipal presence at Lake Louisa. Currently, your residents rely on private landowners for all their boat launchings and boat retrievals. Goal 2. Build a centralized washing station available to all the residents in the Wentworth North territory. This will benefit all the lakes located in your territory and not just the residents of Lake Louisa. Goal 3. Build a municipal dock available to Wentworth North residents and install a gate for control. Institute a deposit and a key system to control access. Control of all boats entering Lake Louisa from the Wentworth North side is of paramount importance. Boat washing must become mandatory. 3 distinct benefits will occur if Wentworth North develops a bylaw similar to that of Wentworth. Benefit number 1, by having both municipalities acting together and enforcing similar bylaws designed to prevent the spread of invasive species, Lake Louisa and other neighboring lakes will have the best chances of avoiding Eurasian milfoil in the future. Benefit number 2, non-resident boat owners who wish to gain access to Lake Louisa by either of our 2 municipalities probably pose the greatest threats to Lake Louisa. If substantial key deposits, mandatory boat washing, and controlled access discourages some non-residents from coming to Lake Louisa to launch their boats for a day trip, then it is probably a good thing for our environment. As even more municipalities enact strict bylaws to protect their lakes and make boat access to their lakes more difficult and less spontaneous, the attraction of Lake Louisa as a destination only increases if we allow these non-residents to simply show up and launch their boats without prior inspection and without prior washing. In the end, it is always important to remember the nature of our greatest fear. The fear that the next boat being launched at Lake Louisa could possibly have been in contact with Eurasian milfoil by fishing in the Ottawa River the day before or cruising on a lake near Mont Tremblant even days before. Benefit number 3. Another high-risk group of boaters are those owned by people renting chalets on Lake Louisa in both our municipalities. At least with coordinated municipal control and mandatory boat washing enforced by both municipalities, some additional measures of boat cleanliness can be assured. As stated at the beginning, the goal of this LLPOA presentation is to summarize the consequences which an infestation of Eurasian milfoil could bring to Lake Louisa. To end our presentation, the LLPOA wishes to emphasize the following conclusions concerning Lake Louisa, our municipalities, and the possibility of our lake becoming infected with Eurasian milfoil. That the time for effective municipal action at Wentworth North is now. Wentworth has already acted. That other lakes which have Eurasian milfoil infestations are desperate to get rid of it. And that to date there are no known solutions to remove an infestation of Eurasian milfoil. It is a hardy perennial plant. It cannot be controlled. And most importantly, to state the obvious, it is certain that if Lake Louisa ever gets Eurasian milfoil, it will not matter which municipality you live in. It will soon directly affect most every lakefront resident of Lake Louisa to some degree. Swimming, boating, fish populations, and the property value of your own cottage will all be affected. This is certain. No bylaw can stop the spread of Eurasian milfoil, but to have the best chances on our side, it will take the combined actions and the tenacity of all Lake Louisa residents acting together to willingly follow these bylaws. So if you are a resident of Lake Louisa and you pay your taxes to Wentworth North, why not give your councillor or mayor a call or an email supporting and urging any and all municipal actions to prevent the spread of Eurasian milfoil? And if you are a resident of Wentworth, why not send a quick email to Wentworth's mayor and council thanking them for their commitment to helping prevent the spread of Eurasian milfoil and in turn other invasive species? And please embrace Wentworth's new bylaw. It is in all of our interests. The LLPOA supports your individual efforts, and we as an organization are working on these dossiers as well. And please tell your lakeside neighbors about this video presentation. Ask them to watch it and become aware of the threats of Eurasian milfoil. The links are available on the LLPOA website, and it is available in both English and French. Thank you for your time.